Countdown on your side too?
Uh, it says it's recording. Yeah.
It says it's recording. All right.
Yep. Yep. You see the
Well, I'll go back and edit it so it's not just us
okay.
talking like idiots before it starts.
Right.
Which is typically the case.
This is typically the case. We just a couple idiots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Zesty or Testy podcast. I'm your host, Testy McNasty. With me, as always, my co-host, Zesty Tito de la Pinga.
¿Qué pasó?
Nada mucho. We have a special guest today, Playboy the Beast.
How's it going?
How do you want to be addressed? Playboy or Mr. the Beast or Playboy the Beast all together all one time?
PTP, usually work. Proud boy, whatever you prefer, man.
Whatever.
Yes, sir.
We always start this podcast off with a toast. Today we are going to remember the words of the Stoic Greek philosopher Epictetus when he said, "Only the educated are free." Cheers.
Salute.
Homie.
You said Epictetus?
Epictetus.
Oh, Epictetus.
That's a funny name.
I heard Titus. Welcome, dude.
I appreciate
Welcome,
it.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No, Mr. Beast is a different dude. That's like a famous. That's
my
a
bad.
different dude.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's the man.
This is Mr. the Beast.
The Beast. The Beast in the house.
How's your day going, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just hanging out with the kids, visiting family. Yep, doing the family thing.
Well, welcome, man. We've been talking you up for quite some time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Telling
Guys,
everybody to make sure they don't miss out this podcast. We were going to have you on here, so I appreciate you taking some time to join us today.
Yeah, this is my first podcast I've ever done, man. So
No shit.
yeah, yeah.
This is the first time we're remoting in a guest, so
Oh,
bear
cool.
with us on the technical glitches if there are any. Usually
All right.
when we have somebody over, we just kind of sit them right here
Yeah.
and drink with them.
Yeah.
So when we say we're pretty tech savvy, that means that we can squeeze somebody in here between us.
I can press the record
I mean, we
button
could have
on
put
a
it. We could have just put the camera or the iPad right here with him.
cardboard
Yeah.
cardboard cut out of Playboy.
Yeah.
Where you guys from?
Texas, San
Texas.
Antonio.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
Where you at, man?
I'm in South Dakota at the moment.
Nice.
Awesome.
I was in North Carolina before this, but getting a little liberal out there, so we wanted a more conservative state.
North Carolina was getting liberal?
Certain areas, not where we were at per se, but Charlotte and all the bigger cities, man, yeah, it's getting pretty bad.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah.
I thought all the flyover states were still pretty conservative. You didn't really get liberal until you got out to California or New York.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess
just the bigger cities.
any big city, you're starting to get too much liberalism, huh?
Right.
So I grew up hardcore rappers like Esham and Brother Lich Hung and ICP and most famous the Gravediggers. That was back in the 90s. All of a sudden, 20 years later, some kid pops out named Playboy the Beast. How'd you get into hardcore hip hop, man? How'd you get into music in general?
I've always, like you said, man, I was a fan of ICP, Onyx, all those guys, the old school rappers, Ice Cube, big fan of Ice Cube.
Nice.
So as soon as I heard them when I was a kid, I thought I could do it too, so that's when I started, man. I heard them guys doing it, and I just kind of started rapping along to their lyrics. Eventually came across Bone Thugs and Harmony, and that was a game changer for me, man. Those guys are like the best in my opinion.
Okay, I can see the influence because I can see when you start doing the and Busy Bone would be doing the. So I see the influence there.
Right. And I grew up in the Midwest too, so we have Twista, we have Tech Nine, we have, the fast flow is really, synonymous with the Midwest, man. So
probably.
Yeah.
You used to wear a mask. Now, no homo. You're a good-looking dude. Why would you cover up the money maker per se when you're in the industry where sex sells?
my thing, I just try to, brand myself and do something to set myself apart from other people. It's just part of my image and branding at that time.
Yeah.
When I would do shows, I would have a custom mask just for that show. When I would do
shit.
video, yeah, and just try to keep it fresh. It was just kind of like not really a gimmick, but kind of a gimmick. It was just like my image and my branding at that time.
You wouldn't take the mask off and toss it to the audience and
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I would sign it and give it out at the end of the night and stuff.
nice. That's cool. So
Yeah.
there's probably some Playboy the Beast masks floating around on eBay
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, yeah. There's a bunch out there.
So about how long did you do that? And I said
S-
like the whole mask thing.
that was for several years, man. From like when I first started in around like 2012
Yeah.
till the I'm trying to think what year we stopped doing it. Honestly, I would still wear the mask from time to time if I had the connect on them, but I just don't have anybody to make them anymore. So
I think I've seen you pop up with like the American one every once in a while, like
yeah,
some.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a scream mask, a patriotic scream mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any of those lying somewhere around there? I,
Sheesh.
No,
You gonna
not
have
right.
them mail one in?
I just wanted to see one, man.
Yeah. um, how'd you make the switch from hardcore rap to conservative MAGA rapper? And when did you do that?
I would say 2016, 2017 is when I really started to become politically aware, right? I'm a big fan of the UFC, and I seen Dana White endorsing Donald Trump. Up to that point, I believed everything that I heard on the news. I thought he was racist. I thought he hated me because I was Mexican. And then I seen Dana White endorse him. So I'm like, there's got to be something to this, you know? So then I started doing some independent research, and I've been a diehard Trump supporter ever since, man.
Awesome.
And I've just gotten more and more educated. I've gotten more involved. And the more I learn, the more passionate I become for it, you know?
I, I'm gonna ask a dumb question, dude. But so let you say the more you've learned, right? What do you feel like some of those things that have steered you in that direction?
I think what's really done it for me is seeing what the world is like right now. You know, like the left for me is like the personification of actual evil, and I can't support that anymore. You know, I used to make music that was blasphemous and violent and, just had a negative message to it. But now that I see what that actually represents and what that brings, I've got 4 kids. I'm a family man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be pushing that message to my kids. And I'm not even trying to put that out there to the world. I don't live that life anymore either. You know what I'm saying? So I have no business rapping about that kind of stuff when I'm not living that life.
Do
That's
you
awesome.
do you think the conservatism kicked in like with the first kid?
That's when it began. That's when it wasn't just overnight, but that's when, I started softening up a little bit, started, now I got to worry about somebody else other than just myself. And, you know,
You know, there's a famous old quote that says, "If you're not a liberal in your 20s, you have no soul. If you're not a conservative in your 30s, you have no brain."
yeah, yeah, I've heard that.
You
Facts.
know, when we're young, we're full of passion. We think we can save the world. When we get older, we get maybe a little bit wiser, but a lot more cynical, and then we see like, maybe the government can't fix everybody's problems. Uh,
I think you're a perfect example of when we talk about how kids, families, right, in general, but kids change us, right?
Yeah.
Um, I guess that's our transition from your young adulthood into truly adulthood, right?
I know I didn't feel like a man until I had my first kid.
Yeah.
Because even leading up to that, even after getting married, I still kind of felt like a kid. I still kind of felt like I could party all night and shit like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I had my first kid, I'm like, oh, there's a tiny little life
That depends on you.
depending on me to not fuck up. Uh, yeah, that's when I first started growing up, I think.
Is that kind of what did it for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then just being observant of what was taking place, and just, you can't really turn a blind eye to that shit. It's fucking,
Uh,
That's the truth.
I was doing some research and I was a fan of Loza Alexander, and I didn't know that Loza Alexander had released a Fuck Trump track right before he released
yeah.
Mega Man. What's the
Right.
time period between that?
I,
Was it both of the. Go
I
ahead.
can't say for sure, but it had to be pretty close because he made the George Floyd song too, where he was talking about pro George Floyd and shit and how fucked up it was what happened to him, and then it seemed like a month or two later, all of a sudden now it's fucking ultra MAGA and shit.
Yeah, so that was like an overnight switch then, huh?
That's what it seemed like to me. Yeah.
Did he ever respond to your diss track?
No, we squashed everything for a while there, man.
No shit.
But then I've just been kind of observing some of the moves and shit he does, and I've just kind of fell back again. And I'm not gonna diss him or anything like that, but I don't fuck with him, you know.
Did you see the shit that he's doing with the AI where he makes his face look like Drake and his voice sound
Oh
like
yeah,
Drake, and then
yeah.
he's rapping as Drake, and then he's in the background in his own video watching himself rap like Drake? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, me personally, if you're just doing it and you're being very transparent about it, then you know it
Yeah,
is what it is. It can be entertaining, but when you're putting it out there and trying to, you know, promote it as maybe that's an actual collab or something, I think that's kind of some scumbag shit. But
I think it was pretty obvious that it wasn't really
yeah,
Drake, and I don't know if it was just because the technology is not that great,
Yeah.
or if I don't think. Do you think he was trying to like make it look like he was rapping with Drake?
I don't know if he was really trying to, but you would see some people in the comments and they really thought that, you know, that's what happened. And he wasn't trying to correct them. You know what I'm saying?
He
So
didn't
that's just
correct
like, yeah.
Be you.
him. So I saw an AI video on TikTok where it was like an AI Kanye West, and he
Mhm.
goes, "I'm not the new Kanye. I'm not the old Kanye. Everybody knows I'm the clone Kanye. All the pretty girls trying to bone Kanye, but I'm just trying to go to Paris. Parlez-vous français?" And it was so smooth. And it sounded just as good as anything Kanye West could have written. And it was all AI. It was an AI voice. It was an AI lyrics. What do you think the future? Do you think you're going to have to compete against AI rappers
I
in
sure
the
hope not,
future?
man. I think that's definitely where we're headed, but yeah, that's some next level shit, man.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that, and I'm going to digress a little bit here. You know, we're talking about AI. Just earlier today, and I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of TikTok, but who am I kidding? I am. Um, you know, and I was just browsing some crap, and I saw a video, and I look over at my wife. I'm like, "You think this is real?" It was a video. Like nowadays, you just don't know what to believe, what's right, what's wrong, what's real, what's not.
Yeah.
And so I saw a video of like the Disney castle burning up, going up in flames,
Oh shit!
and it's like down to the ground, right? But then you look at the flames, and you're like, "Oh, this thing looks like it's AI."
Digital things.
Yeah, and so but you don't know,
Yeah.
So back to your point, um, you know, he was just asking you, do you think you've got to compete against AI rappers, right? I hope that's not the case because as it is, I just feel like music in general has changed so much.
Yeah.
And then now you start adding AI to it. It's like, what's left of it, right?
Yeah.
What's left that has a human soul?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. When it comes to music, I don't think we have too much to be worried about, but on like you know, another level, like speeches, like they can create speeches and make it look like somebody's saying something that they're actually not, you know, like that's where it gets to like that's concerning to me, you know.
Yeah.
well, yeah. And so I agree with you. Speeches, or even, you know, just effects on like today, right? I'm looking at it going, damn, there's a fire at Disney destroyed something that's monumental for that area, right? You could see, devastation in Egypt because the pyramids are gone, and there was an explosion. Nothing really
And it's
happened,
not
right?
real. Yeah.
And it's not real. And so, how much of it do you believe when you're sitting over here?
Yeah.
Is it real? Is it not? This is a conversation him and I just recently had about mainstream news and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to know what you should and shouldn't believe.
Yep.
Look, we're getting older, and I guess I'm one of those guys, and I've got a much older mother-in-law, right, who truly believes anything she sees, and we have to tell her, hey, back off a little bit. Half of it is not true, right?
Yeah.
It's not real. But to your point, right, like he said, maybe in the music industry you're not going to see it as much, but the fact that you're going to see it elsewhere, that's scary.
That is scary.
I don't know. That's just my thought, man.
It's already hard to tell, what's the lie and what's the truth, just trying to watch the news.
Right.
Denzel Washington said, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. And if you do watch the news, you're misinformed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous in this world right now. How do we find the truth?
Yeah. And the last thing we need is more control from the government deciding what's the truth and what's not. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the main issues we're having right now too.
That's true. Weren't they gonna appoint a truth czar, where it was some woman that was gonna sit there and say, "This is true, this is not true. You're allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say that." And
Yeah.
then there was a lot of pushback, so they didn't appoint the truth czar,
Secretary of fact checking.
secretary of fact checking, some shit like that. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I got my shit taken down on Facebook all the time, all the fucking time. I spent time in Facebook jail. I didn't do a lot of Twitter, so like when the Twitter files came out and it showed that the government was emailing, Twitter saying take this down, take this down, take
Yeah,
this down.
right.
I can't prove that my shit was an email from the government, but I got a lot of my shit taken down on Facebook.
Hey, man. Yeah, I've been banned and deplatformed on there so many times, man.
On Facebook and
Yeah,
on TikTok. Haven't you been
yeah.
like, you
TikTok,
went down, you came
Instagram.
back up, you go down, you come back up?
Yeah, yeah, man. This is
On
actually
TikTok, bro.
this is the longest I've had a TikTok account. I've had it for like 7 months. Before that, yeah,
Yeah.
before
So
that, I've
okay,
had
so
like 20 accounts that got banned, man.
from a guy who's not as familiar as Testy is here, familiar with you, share with me some of the reasons why you've gotten banned from TikTok.
I think some of the reasons were like responding to troll comments. Like if somebody threatens you and you say something back, they'll try to report you. Also, you can't represent Proud Boys on TikTok at all. I can't mention Proud Boys. I can't say it in my music or anything. They consider us a hate group, which is bullshit. Um, I think that's mostly what it was. Also, misinformation, they call it. So if you say anything about the election, anything about the coronavirus, they call that misinformation. They're going to completely take you out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm asking because I've never been in on Facebook jail, but I don't.
Post
Dude,
a lot of shit.
I don't post a lot of shit. Well, not only that, but dude, I'm 53 years old. I'm still trying to figure out how to do shit on Facebook. So that's why I said. I guess that's why I've never gotten kicked out. Now, if I really, I think, bent it, I might be kicked out. But anyway,
Yeah, I noticed they also suppress Facebook, especially anything conservative or Trump related. They suppress the shit like crazy, man. Like I can post anything on Facebook, it's gonna get 100 likes. If I put Trump's name in a status, nobody sees it. Yeah, and they proved that the FBI actually went to Zuckerberg directly and said, "Hey, you guys need to suppress anything like the Hunter laptop story right before 2020. All that kind of shit, man." And this
Yeah.
is not conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like this is shit that's actually came out.
so
Good.
I'm going to ask you a question because this is a topic that came up the last time. You said it's stuff that you're not a conspiracy theorist. Stuff that came out. Where do you suggest news should come from?
What's that?
Where do you suggest news should come from? Or a guy like myself, dude.
Yeah,
Where do you suppose I should be hearing my news from or getting my news from? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because,
yeah,
and I'm asking because I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just curious because I'm still one of those people that, like I told him some time back, right? I still listen to mainstream media news, NBC, CBS, or nightly news. That's basically right.
yeah.
But there's a bit of an agreement with Testy on the fact that some of it is what the media wants you to know or wants you to hear, right?
Yes, sir.
So, what's your suggestion?
So what I like to do personally these days is I like to keep an open mind. I might listen to MSNBC, Fox, all these, all the different sources, and then I'm going to Google and I'm going to, do more research on it. Take what everybody's saying, and then you go do your own independent research, Google it, you know what I'm saying? Look it up, do some actual research on it, go watch the speeches, go watch the interviews, see for yourself, see what the statistics are, you know what I'm saying? And then develop your opinion after you've taken don't take any news for what they say. You know what I'm saying? If you hear it, go research it, make sure it's actually legit. That's my recommendation.
Do you listen to any podcasts?
Joe Rogan, that's about it, man.
I like Joe Rogan too.
Yeah, I love
He's
Joe Rogan.
easily the most popular one right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Never heard of him.
Shit.
Theo Vaughn's pretty good too. I like him, man. He's funny as hell.
Who?
Theo Vaughn, he's a comedian.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, Yep.
He doesn't really do news though. He's just kind of like a
Yeah, yeah, just
train of thought shit, just like
yeah.
spews out of his mouth. But yeah, that dude's hilarious. You know, I'll make a suggestion for news. There's a 15-minute podcast called The President's Daily Brief.
Okay.
And every morning and every afternoon they do 15 minutes about what the hell's going on in the world. It's not typically local. It's typically about like all the wars, the war in Ukraine, the war in Israel. But the dude used to be a CIA agent, and the dude used to gather like the information and then present it to. I think he worked for Bill Clinton, and he would like, these are the things that you need to worry about today. And like that was his job, and like he doesn't work with the CIA anymore, so now he just does a podcast where he does the same thing.
That's cool.
And he's I'm not gonna say he's not non-biased. I think he leans conservative, but he also tells a lot of dad jokes that are just kind of painful. They're not like the funny dad jokes; they're the ones that like do this.
Makes you denounce your father. You're like, oh.
But I mean, that's where I get my news if I have to listen to news because it's quick. It's 15 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. There's also one called The Pour Over that's like it's a Christian based one, and that does like more local American style news.
Got it.
And then they're like, even though all this stuff's going on, remember God's on the throne, and then they'll tell you something else really screwed up that's going on.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and the reason I was asking is because everybody's got a different point of view as to where they gather their news, where you get their news from, right? And like I said, I'm not because I'm hard headed, but because that's the way I was brought up, right? And there's some people who choose to kind of make their own minds up and say, well, I'm going to get my news from elsewhere, from another source. But the old school guy that I am, I still go to the news, right? That's why I was asking you. But you brought up a good point, right? It's like, don't make up your mind until you research it, right?
Sure.
Do your own research, and then maybe at that point make your own decision or create your own personal thoughts.
And you still use Google to do your own research? You don't do DuckDuckGo or one of those other ones?
No, I was using DuckDuckGo for a while, but Google seems to do the trick still. You can usually find what you're looking for,
Like eight pages deep after you scroll past everything else.
Go into a few rabbit holes before you actually get to where you need to be.
And that's the problem, man. Who's got time for that shit? I got kids, you got kids, you got kids. Who's got time to scroll through Google trying to find out what the truth is?
Well, and that's why I asked, because on top of the fact that I'm old school, I'm a lazy ass, right? And so, some thank you. On top of everything, I'm a lazy ass, and so to me, it's kind of like the simplest thing to do, like most Americans, is turn on the TV, put it on one of the, the big threes, big three or big fours, right? And watch the news there, right?
Right.
Look, I do believe that there's some truth to every time you watch a movie, there's got to be some truth to it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why somebody thought of creating a movie, right? And so, I was addicted to this show, Succession, right? Which really talks about all this. I mean, the media wanting you to think what they want you to think, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I really do think that there is some truth to what you and I talked about and what you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
You got to do your own research. Otherwise, well, you're just going to be your opinion is based on somebody else's
propaganda.
Or
what they want.
What they want you to think.
Yeah. It seems like most people get their news from social media these days too, and I think that's definitely a problem. They just read the headlines and they run with it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even click on the article; they just read the clickbait headline.
Right, Trump's a racist, and then they're just off to the races, and
Yeah, that is true, and I think we see a lot more of that shit than we know.
Oh yeah.
Look, I've got a family member that will remain unmentioned here. Sorry to my sister Claudia. I just said it. No, but she's big on, hey, well, I read on Facebook. I'm like, well, that's your problem. One, you read it on Facebook,
right?
And you just talked about suppression, right? It's like half of it is going to be whatever they want you to read, and then the other half is going to be, did you really read it, or did you just read the title?
Yeah. I think there's a place for social media in information gating because I spend too much time on TikTok. I originally got on it to make sure my kids weren't posting anything inappropriate, and then I end up sitting there fucking scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to that shit. But like when Maui hit and all those places burned down, there was some dude like just walking around Maui and just walking around all the burned down houses and all the burnt down cars and the cars lined up, and he was talking to people on the street who had, you know, the street had been blockaded, and the people actually had to leave their cars and walk away from the fire because they weren't allowed to drive past that one street. And I don't know what the news talked about Maui because I didn't watch the news. I still don't really watch the news. So I mean, I learned about Maui from TikTok.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what they reported. What did they report on Maui during the Maui fire?
The only thing I heard was, well, so I don't know how it got started, right? What I heard from the news was, and I gathered was, there was a fire got started, and it went out of control, and then the wind started picking up, and the electric company should have shut down the electrical grid in order to avoid all these down power lines continue, flaring up more fires, and they didn't. So, is it true, or is it that's the escape code, right?
Yeah. Well, there's also something where somebody has to like authorize the ability to release water to like put fires out.
Yeah.
And the person that was supposed to authorize the ability to get all the water to put the fires out, they were like on vacation or something, and like it was 6 hours later before they could be reached to like pull the lever. And there's like a TikTok where the dude's like spraying with his hose, his garden hose, and then the hose just like turns off, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like trying to jiggle with the handle and stuff, and the water just doesn't come out. So yeah, I get my news from TikTok.
See, I don't. But look,
I know it sounds like I'm a dumbass, but
let's not go too far. What happened?
Okay.
What happened this week? Right, earlier this week we had that incident with the cell phone networks going down.
Oh yeah, AT&T.
Yeah, AT&T.
So I got AT&T, and I wasn't affected at all.
So yeah, but I mean, what happened?
Well, I don't know what happened.
Still
What happened
haven't.
with AT&T?
Yeah.
Nothing's been said. I mean, have we? I don't think I heard anything on the news other than there was a massive outage that affected Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T customers.
Oh, it affected everybody?
Yeah, it was a nationwide outage affecting mostly large cities, and the news were talking about L.A., Atlanta, Chicago. They mentioned Texas because I think Houston and Dallas were a big part of this.
Yeah.
But then later on in the news, they talk about how all these wireless companies were down for 2 to 5 hours or 3 to 5 hours or so.
Yeah.
By 11:30 or noon, everybody had their service restored.
Yeah.
But not a single word of what happened.
Why it happened?
Yeah.
No.
All I saw were the memes where everybody was living like prior AT&T customers and this Prairie Home Companion. They're all in the primitive pilgrim outfits.
But that goes back to what we just talked, right? Yeah. They won't. You're gonna hear what they want you to hear. How come we're not? I mean, we're talking large companies here. I mean, one of them is a global company, right? AT&T. So why are we not hearing?
Why?
The big joke was that this happened on Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
And a week before, or maybe a few days before, on the news, they had talked about Russia having some missile that had outer space range that could knock out communication in the U.S. And of course, guess what? People are walking into these stores going, "Did this have something to do with Russia?"
Yeah.
And of course, I told my kid that, but
You told your kid that Russia took out our AT&T?
but she was here at home, so I made sure that it stayed at home and she didn't share it with anybody. But back to the point, right? The point was, why are we not hearing what's really happening out there, right? And you can do research, but it's like, I don't know, is some of the research believable or not, considering nobody's talking about it, right? So yeah, I mean, I can't even make a valid statement or opinion, right?
True.
Because nothing was said, but it's a great cover up.
Sure.
And just like that one, there's many others, I'm sure.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I think you'd agree with me, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
this is why we don't have a lot of guests, because me and him never shut the fuck up and let you get word in edgewise.
I feel like that's what happened with AT&T. I personally feel like that's a test run. You know what I'm saying? Just to see what they can do. and then that might be something we have to worry about in the future. Because if they take out the power grid like that, man, we're fucked.
The internet goes down at work and no work gets done.
Right,
If the electricity and the ability to process credit card payments go out, you're not gonna be
oh
able
yeah,
to buy groceries, man.
right, right,
And who knows for how long?
And we're becoming dependent on just plastic.
Yeah,
yeah,
nobody carries cash. But even if we did have cash, the grocery store won't let you in if there's no electricity, if there's no light. They don't want to get sued for you tripping over something, not being able to see anything. They won't let you when the power goes out. The HEB doesn't let you in the doors.
Yeah, everybody shuts down their business when the
Yeah,
power goes out. It's not like before. It's like, oh, just be careful. I mean, those things are over.
yeah.
It's unfortunate, but we live in a litigious world that unfortunately everybody's scared to be around.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's. But you're right. Anyway, sorry, man. I just kind of have to digress a little bit as to where we get our news
No,
from.
that's why we do it, bro.
All right.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks. Playboy, what was going on leading up to and on the day of January 6th
for me personally,
for you personally?
Would you? Let me ask one question first.
yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
Or was it? Was it or was it not? Or would you not consider this an insurrection?
No, it was in no way, shape, or form an insurrection. No, no,
Even if
nobody went there with the intent that day to overthrow the government. Nobody. I don't believe anybody went there with the intent to do that. No.
For you personally, it's January 4th, 5th. What are you doing in your own personal life?
Um, music, family, just the usual stuff. But I had dropped a song called "Stand Back and Stand By" in December, and it started going viral. It was blowing up. As soon as it blew up, I got banned on every social media platform there is. Um, I was still on Twitter though, and Antifa had come across my music. They started making threats to me on Twitter and all this shit. I was talking about going like publicly on True Social at that time. I said I was going to be going to the Capitol on January, or not to the Capitol, but to the Trump rally on January 6th. Um, and then Antifa was they basically said they were going to put a hit out on me and to keep an eye
Oh
out for
shit!
yeah.
God.
So I wasn't even gonna really go that day. I woke up, I wasn't really feeling it. I'm like, man, I don't really want to go. But then I seen that shit and I'm like, okay, I gotta go now. You know what I'm saying? Like these dudes are gonna think they punked me out if I don't show up. So we're gonna do it. So I ended up going, and my whole intention going to there on the January 6th was to defend Trump supporters, um, throw down with Antifa if I had to, if they ran up on me. I wasn't going there looking for a fight, but I sure as hell wasn't going to back down from anybody, or you know what I'm saying. Um, so I don't know if you guys remember, there was another rally in December, just like a week or two before this, where all the Proud Boys were there. Some people got stabbed.
Oh shit!
Trump, yeah, a bunch of Trump supporters were getting jumped on by Black Lives Matter and Antifa. So that's the main reason I went there. I wanted to go there to I like to fight. I'll be honest. I like to fight. So I went there expecting that maybe some shit would go down and I would have the opportunity to defend some people. I'm not going out there just start swinging on people. I'm going there to defend people and you know be righteous about it. But when we got there, no Antifa to be found. I stayed in the hotel room about 30 minutes away because all the hotel rooms were booked out. I woke up at about probably 11 and I had a bottle of vodka. So we just hung out in the hotel room. We chugged a bottle of vodka, got a nice little buzz going, was feeling good. By the time we got to downtown DC, Trump's speech was already over. So we missed the entire speech.
Yeah.
Uh, we jumped in. There was people marching through the streets. We had no idea where we were going. We just jumped in with everybody, and we followed where everybody else was going. It was all peaceful. Your typical Trump rally, everybody showing love. You got black people, white people, Mexicans. I even seen a cross dresser out there, bro. Like, like you wouldn't expect to see that at a Trump rally, But yeah, it was all peaceful and everything until we got up towards the Capitol, and
And
then
so then what happened?
so trying to think the best way. So we were probably, I'd say, God, I'm trying to think of the distance, how far we were away. Basically, we got to the point to where we could see the Capitol in the distance, you know, and you could see like tear gas and smoke grenades and shit going off, and it was looking pretty rowdy. But we were still there was a sea, hundreds of thousands of people, you know. So to get up there, it took us about another hour just to comb through all these people. By the
Yeah,
time I got up there, everything had calmed down. There was a couple altercations, but I was trying to keep the peace, bro. Like when I seen people getting crazy with the cops, I'm like, dude, calm down. Everything's good. You know what I'm saying? We're not here for that shit. That's not how we operate. If we're gonna beef with somebody, we're gonna go beef with Antifa or somebody in the streets. We're not gonna fight with cops. We're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? So I was de-escalating shit the whole time. Um, I seen two guys that were dressed in Trump gear. I don't think they were actually Trump supporters, but they were trying to assault a reporter. And me and my homeboy, we jumped the fence, or not the fence, but a railing, went and chased them off. You know what I'm saying? So like nothing but peaceful, bro. I wasn't there on no bullshit. I wasn't there to fight cops. I wasn't there to overthrow the government. Nothing like that. Um, one second, mom's still drunk. So now we finally get up right to the Capitol building, and we approach the window that had been broken out like 2 hours before that, right? And at this time, like I said, everything has died down. The police are standing down. There's no fights or nothing like that, like you've seen the footage of. Um, So I look in this window and some dude, he's like, "Hey, come on in, man. It's all good. The police are standing down. Come on in." And I look in and I see the police and they're blocking off the entrance, the hallways into the actual Capitol, right? Um, but like he said, everybody's peaceful. So I look in and I made a judgment call. I'm like, hey, this should be all right for me to do this, because the cops aren't telling nobody to leave right now. Um, so I went in through the window. People were going in through the window and they were going out through a door that was like 10 feet away. So they
yeah.
would go in through the window, pay the respects to the cops, and then walk out. You know what I'm saying? So I went in through the window. I started at the right side, shook hands with cops, gave them high fives, said, I back the blue. Nothing but love and respect, guys. I know you guys probably don't want to be here either. And I was in there for about a minute and 30 seconds and I walked out and we went home after that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So
It
what'd
was,
you get charged with?
they charged me with entering and remaining in a restricted grounds, and then like three other charges that were basically trespassing. They charged me with trespassing four different times and just called it different shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's for the minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. And they see me on surveillance camera shaking hands with these cops. They see me on surveillance not breaking anything. You know what I'm saying? So to send me to a medium maximum security federal prison, you know what I'm saying? For some shit like that, that's ridiculous, bro. It's unheard of.
Yeah. How long were you in the prison?
They sent me for 6 months, man. I did every single day of that 6 months. Yeah.
Did you get to see your lawyer?
Yes,
Uh,
I had a public defender, um, and it was
Always a mistake, bro.
right. But I've been through the court system so many times. It's like I've got misdemeanors. Why do I need to, spend $20,000 on a lawyer? They're not going to send me to prison with four misdemeanors. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I thought I would be good, but clearly I was gravely mistaken.
Okay, so did they? Were you in there for 6 minutes, 6 months after being tried and convicted, or was that just a
No,
holding time? While
yeah. So the feds came for me 1 year later, almost exactly 1 year later. They came to
oh
my house
shit,
here, yeah, in South Dakota. I went to court. They see me. I got out like 3 or 4 hours later, and then I was out until I got sentenced. After I got sentenced, I had to wait for my letter to come in the mail that told me when I would have to turn myself in. Self surrender letter. That's what I did, with self surrender. So
sure.
they gave me a letter. They said this is where you're going to go. This is when you need to be there by. So I was on the streets for several months before I actually had to go turn myself in to prison to begin serving my time.
So let's rewind a little bit. You walk in through, you climb in through the window. You're in there for a minute 30. You walk out through the door. What happens after that?
We pretty much just walked around the outside of the Capitol. We went and seen what's the shaman, the dude with the horns and shit.
Yeah,
They were doing a little speech. We listened to them for a little bit, but like I said, at this time everybody was just kind of hanging out at this time and talking, and so we walked back to our car. We marched back through the streets, and found our way back to our car. I went back to North Carolina, and then I seen on the news. I had no idea all that crazy shit happened. The fights with the cops and shit. So when
Yeah.
I'm telling everybody like, yeah, I was at the fucking Capitol, man, it was crazy, but I had no idea the shit that actually went down at that point. So when people are saying this shit, I'm like, no, man, I was there. I didn't see none of that shit. I didn't believe it until some of the footage came out, you know. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess some shit really did go down, you know. And I don't condone that. I don't condone fighting with cops, but now that I've seen more footage as well, a lot of those people were peaceful until the police fired upon them with rubber bullets and pepper balls or whatever the case may be. And that seems to be when shit escalated.
Yeah.
I don't mean to play devil's advocate here, but I do have a question, right? At the point where, like you said, it was a peaceful entry, the cops were there, you're coming in through a window, right? At that point, did you ever feel like, man, maybe we shouldn't? I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
I definitely did. Like when I was at the window, I'm like, fuck, this is a broken window. I don't know if I should go through there, you know. But when I look in and I see literally the cops are in there high fiving people, everybody's getting along. Like, well, shit, they're not telling me to leave. They're not telling anybody else to leave. So I should be able to go in here and take a quick selfie, you know, like this is a historic moment. If I didn't do it, I feel like I would have regretted it. That's how I felt at the time. Now that I
So
look back,
FOMO,
I wish I would. What's that?
fear of missing out, FOMO.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah.
did 6 months for FOMO.
Basically.
I mean, and I guess I'm listening to what you're saying now, and I'm thinking, like now I'm thinking, as, and again, I'm not in law enforcement, but as an officer, if there's 100 of us or 200 of us in there, right, and I see thousands of people going in. Best thing to do is just, to your point, shake everybody's hand, and it's like let's hope that nobody gets hurt,
Right.
and once we have this under control, we'll get everybody out, right? But you're not thinking that at the time, I guess,
Yeah.
right? At the time, it was just kind of like, well, they're not saying anything, so let me come in. That's why I was asking. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
why
like
did
if I would have been at the front and I would have seen all the fights that actually happened and in the battles that took place for some of those people to get inside, then I would have been like, hell no. You know, I would have seen that. Hopefully, I would have seen that. I can't say, you know, now that I know what happened from it. Had I been there, maybe shit would have been different, you know. But now looking at it and seeing, you know, what happened to everybody, I would definitely turn the fuck around and get out of there.
What's your guesstimate on the number of people that were there when you finally showed up?
Uh, at least 100,000 people, bro. Like I've never seen that many people gathered in one spot in my life, man.
Yeah. Did it look like an ocean of people, or
Yeah, when we got up there and there was people climbing the scaffolding and shit still, and you would look down and all you would see is just a sea of people, man. It was crazy.
could you see the horizon, or was there people stretching out all the way to the horizon?
You could kind like when you would get up higher, you could see where there was not people, but I mean, yeah, you had to really try.
We had to really try.
so? So now let's fast forward a little bit, and we'll come back, right? But after 6 months, you're back at home. You're back with your family, your kids. Um, are you restricted to just your home for now, or
Well, I did have 1 year of like basically probation or supervised release to do. I've only got like 1 month left, man. So I'm almost done and
Nice.
completely
good for
free.
you, man?
Yeah, yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's
Are you
why I haven't been drinking or doing anything. I'm just making sure that's the last place you want to go is federal prison, man. Like, at least where
Yeah.
I, you know, it's not a good place.
Are you wearing an ankle bracelet right now?
No, nothing like that. No,
No.
no. I'm not on home confinement or nothing like that. I can, if I need to go to a different state, I can let my PO know and get it approved ahead of time and stuff. But
So it's just probation. You just show up once a month, meet your PO, take a whiz quiz every once in a while.
yeah,
Shit like
and
that.
my PO actually comes directly to my house, man, and we talk. He's
Oh,
cool. Yeah, he's cool, man.
nice.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Are you still able to perform right now?
Yeah, I probably could. I would just have to get it approved, you know, beforehand. But
So in a year, you haven't put on a concert at all?
no, no, I'm laying low, man. I'm not taking any chances. I have to fight somebody or, you know, anything, bro. Like I'm hibernating until I'm off paper and then
So you're officially off.
yes, sir.
So we can expect something from you after
In 1 month?
in a month.
We'll catch days in hell, man.
You're ready for it. Well, at least it's giving you some time to prepare, huh?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
When's the
Yes.
last time you put on a concert?
Man, honestly, the last show I did was in Colorado Springs a few years ago. It's been
Shit.
years. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
really not a fan of doing shows, man. I have to drink to perform. I get socially anxiety and stuff, so um, I'm not a fan. When I first started rapping, that's all I did. I went on tours, I was doing shows. I was doing shows more than I was in the studio. Now I kind of switched my formula and I'm doing more of the social media, music videos, try to build my base up. And then once I can get like $2,500 per show, then we're going to get an RV. We're going to throw the family in the RV and, go tour for a month or two. But right now we're just working on building them numbers back up to where I can really, make it worth my time financially.
Do you think the performance anxiety is why you started off wearing the mask to kind of try to give you like a little buffer zone between the audience and yourself?
Maybe subconsciously that might have been, yeah.
Subconsciously? It's because I still see people wearing like the COVID mask, like even though
Yeah,
like COVID's been over for a while, and like I'm pretty sure that's psychological for them. I think there's people that have become comfortable like having that little buffer between the rest of the world and themselves because they even drive in the car in it, you know. And I was like, I know you're not doing this to not get sick if you're driving in the car with it on.
right.
I think because my youngest kid, like when we finally stopped wearing masks, my youngest kid, she was like, she still wanted to wear the mask, and I'm like, take that fucking mask off right now and you go to school.
It was her comfort zone.
It was her comfort zone. It was like a security blanket. She wanted to like still have like that little safety net. I'm like, man, this is the real world. You can't just be walking around hiding your face. You got to see your smile. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's funny you mentioned it because we don't. I guess from a person that doesn't perform, like us, right? We just assume that somebody like yourself is like 100% confident, 1,000% confident to where,
especially with rap, because
yeah.
rappers have the bravado and shit.
Yeah, exactly. That you guys are just out there. It's like nothing bothers you, nothing pains you, nothing. It's I am who I am. But it's look, we're all human at the end of the day, right?
Sure.
Right.
And I was just thinking, and I'm gonna again. I told you I'm pretty old, man. So going back. Roy Orbison wore those dark sunglasses.
He did every performance,
and that's the reason he wore them
for the social anxiety or the performance anxiety.
Yes, because they were prescription glasses, but he had them tinted because he felt like that's how he could hide himself from the public. The guy suffered from anxiety, and this is why he wore those dark glasses.
I thought it just made him look like a badass.
Well, but exactly, right? And so let's talk to some of these rappers out there, right? And that's what we think. We're like, these guys are badass, right?
Yeah.
But they're human, and everybody's going to have their quirks, right?
Yeah.
Or their social issues. We're going to call them that, right? It's good to know that all of us are, at the end of the day, in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just lucky we don't have to perform in front of hundreds or thousands of people like yourself. So.
Yeah,
so thank you, I guess, for what you did for saying that.
See, my thing back when I did shows is I always had to drink, and I don't like drinking that much. Like I switched to just drinking twisted teas now because I can drink those all day and just feel great and not get crazy. But when I was doing shows, I was drinking Jaeger bombs, and after a while, next thing you know, I'm acting a fool, man. So that's why I had to take a break, get my mind right, get my, you know what I'm saying, and then I'm gonna find a good hype man. I'm gonna get my show together, and then I'm gonna hit the road again eventually. But yeah, right now
are you a happy drunk or an angry drunk?
Usually happy, but it just like that it can change. Yeah.
Yeah.
I black out. I literally black out when I drink so much, and yeah, it gets bad. It's got me in trouble a few times.
We just had a conversation of blackout drinking.
Yeah, it happens, man. It's legit.
Well, that's what we were talking about in our last podcast because you hear about it.
Yeah.
And I experienced that about 20 years ago, and I was telling him it was scary as shit, man, because I'm driving, and I'm with a couple of buddies, and I come to a stoplight. It's like 3 in the morning, man. Come to a stoplight, and I remember I was waiting for the light to turn green, and all of a sudden everything just literally, and it scared the shit out of me, man.
But you weren't blackout drunk. You just drank yourself blind. There's a fucking difference. Blackout drunk is when you like wake up the next morning. What the fuck did I do?
No,
like,
I mean,
you like lost your vision.
Yeah, like I didn't know if my eyes were shut because I was so tired and drunk, or because I was just blind drinking.
Yeah,
shit, scary. But either way, it's
Not a good time.
I mean, did part of it have to do with just family in general?
What's that?
The changes you made to your life with the drinking, was that part of it due to family?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Sobered up a little bit.
I've got tired of catching charges and getting in trouble because that was my main thing. I would drink and get into fights. So when I got out of prison that last time, I just kind of focused on getting money, music. I was doing MMA for a while, and then I
Oh
just
shit!
Look at that, dude.
Just
And
like local
yeah, yeah,
MMA.
just local stuff, amateur stuff. But
What
I've
do you
got
train? What discipline do you train in?
we did everything. We just full MMA. We did wrestling, jujitsu, boxing,
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, most gyms now they pretty much specialize in all that shit. But
it's cool.
why don't you
yeah.
ask him if he wants to get in a cage
No, I
with
do.
you?
I do jujitsu. I'm a blue belt in
Oh
jujitsu
yeah,
right now, but
that's what's
it's
that.
not like an MMA gym. It's like a pure jujitsu gym. So I'm
I
trying
feel
to
like
lose the weight, but it's not working.
Keeps coming back.
It keeps coming back. Keep finding it again.
wrestling and jujitsu are probably the most important, for
Yeah.
everybody for basic self defense.
Once you get on the ground, it's like all jujitsu,
Yeah,
like fucking. But you gotta like start with a stand up game, and I don't really have a stand up game, so like I can never do MMA shit like that. I'm too old. I'll turn into dust. Somebody punches me, I'll like disappear like the mummy, like when all the sand fucking flies away, or Thanos snaps or some shit. Uh, how old are you, Playboy?
30? No, 38.
30?
38, man,
38?
38.
You lost. You lost 8 years. uh,
I'm
hey, so
getting up
how
there.
was the 6 months in prison? You were in. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so they sent me to Florence, Colorado, to the FCI. It's a medium high security prison.
Uh-huh.
Um, so going into federal prison, everybody had told me feds is way better than state prison, right? So I go in and I'm expecting that it's just going to be a little 6 month vacation. My family's going to be able to come see me all the time, and it's going to
Yeah.
be great. It was the most fucking ridiculous shit I've ever experienced in my life, bro. Like I'm still fucked up from it mentally, emotionally, physically. Um, yeah, it fucked me up, man. It's not right. Like they're if I could advocate for anything, the one thing that I would push for is some type of oversight or something to improve the conditions in these prisons, man, because it's inhumane, it's unconstitutional. This shit ain't right.
So what was the worst thing that happened though?
Um, so really everything, but my thing in particular was in December, I got really, really sick. I got COVID again, I think. I don't know because they never tested me. I was never able to actually see a doctor, never got a flu test, never got anything. But I couldn't breathe, literally could not breathe for almost 3 months straight, or three
God
and a half
damn.
months straight. Yeah, I literally thought I was going to die in prison.
Yeah.
So half of your sentence, you were fucking sick.
Yeah, couldn't work out, could barely walk, could not breathe, like all day, every day. Like just fighting to try to get a breath because for one, you're at high altitude, so it's already hard to fucking breathe, bro. But if you got
Yep.
pneumonia and fucking, myocarditis or some type of shit, like it was fucking miserable. I felt like I was being waterboarded every day for 3.5 months straight, man.
God damn. So what'd you do? Just lay in the bunk all day?
Lay in the bunk, my homies would come, make sure I'm all right, bring me an apple or some cough drops or some shit, check in on me, and yeah.
So for the 3 months that you were not sick, what was it like? Did you get like outside time? Did you
Yeah,
get in?
so it sucked, like you go on lockdowns. If too many people get into a fight, you're going on a lockdown. Like, so I had got out of quarantine and I was on the yard for like maybe 2 weeks. Everything was going good. I was making friends, and it's all respect for Trump supporters and Proud Boys in prison. Um, but then a couple fights went down and they decided to put the whole prison on lockdown. So we went on lockdown for 30 days at that point, and yeah, and then that's just 24-hour lockdown. It's not 23 and 1, like 24 hours a day, you're in your cell the entire time. You don't get out for phone calls, you don't get none of that shit. They
Did you
come in
have a
there.
cell?
Yeah, I had a celly, really cool guy, man. Yep. Yeah,
I
we
guess
had
it helps to have somebody there to like pass the time with.
yeah, yeah, that definitely helped, man, for sure.
Did y'all play cards or what'd you do?
Yeah,
Kill
play
time?
cards. He had a little radio. We had some batteries, so we were able to listen to music here and there, tell stories, worked out, because I was still working out at that time. Made a little punching bag, get my MMA shit in there, and
Oh shit.
burpees and stuff. Yep. Yeah, the first few months it sucked, but it was I was able to deal with it because I was at least healthy. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like traumatizing. It was really fucked up, but um, manageable at that point though.
Yeah. So you get out. Is this? Are you still like having problems breathing by the time you get out?
Oh yeah. So when I went into prison, I was 195 pounds and just jacked. By the time I got out of prison, I was down to 160 pounds.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
dude, I was pale. My girl see me, she started crying. My family see me. They were yeah, they because they hadn't really seen me, the whole time. It took 4.5 months for them to approve the visitation list. Like the prisons are understaffed. It's a shit show, bro.
That's everywhere though.
yeah,
Everybody's understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but you wouldn't think a person would be, right?
I would definitely think a prison would be. Who wants to
Really?
work in a prison? Nobody wants to work in a prison.
I will say though, some of the COs that worked in that prison, a lot of those are like ex-military or even active military. And there's some really good staff that work there. It's the higher ups in the people that work in you really don't even see them face to face. It's the ones that are calling the shots and in the higher ups that are really fucking the place up. But the staff members, they're cool. They're just there trying to do their job. They do what they can, but their hands are really tied to what they can do for us.
So are you on an inhaler now? They just charge you with an inhaler.
They
You
gave
got
me
your
an
lungs
inhaler.
working
They
good.
gave me a steroid inhaler, but they really don't know what's even wrong with me. Like I've had follow up appointments. They have no fucking clue what's wrong with me. So
You're still having problems breathing.
oh yeah, yeah. I haven't been able to actually lift weights and work out in over a year now, man.
Wow. Is that going to affect your rap game?
Oh, it has. Yeah, um in July, man, I got so sick that I was bedridden for a month because I was going too hard. I was starting to feel a little bit better, so I started some boxing and I was recording, a lot more than I usually do, and it just fucked me up, man, and it took me out for about a month where I couldn't breathe again.
I have asthma myself, and from an asthma sufferer to you, stay on that steroid inhaler, man. That shit. If you take it twice a day, it'll help. Just make sure you keep like staying on it and be consistent with it. Because I went off mine for a while and it almost killed me.
Yeah,
So stay on your steroid inhaler
hell yeah,
device.
We almost lost you 2 months
You
ago,
almost
didn't we?
lost me 2 months ago.
really.
Uh,
Yeah, man, he got pretty sick on us, but he's back. We're happy to have him. Well, at least I am. Kind of.
uh, so what was the last song you released then?
The last one I released would have been "Riding with Trump, Never Nikki." That just dropped this Friday. Friday dropped. Yeah.
Oh shit! So
Yep.
you're still able to record. You're still able to rap.
Yeah, I'm improving now a lot. Like, so I've been doing. One of my friends, his brother was a veteran, and they did this experimental treatment for long COVID with nicotine patches.
Oh
I've
shit!
Dude, I've been doing that for 2 months, and I've had more improvement in the last 2 months than I have in the last year and a half. So
Nicotine patches?
nicotine patches. So apparently, nicotine attacks the same receptors as COVID. So when you have long COVID, you have it's on your receptors still, and that's what causes you all these issues.
Yeah.
Apparently, the nicotine patches attack those same receptors and knocks it off the receptor. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's good to know.
So you've had some good luck with it.
I've definitely seen some improvement. I'm far from 100%, but it's been the one thing. I've tried all the other natural remedies and shit. Nothing really works. This is the one thing, man, that has I've seen a drastic improvement.
Are you vaxxed or unvaxxed?
Unvaxxed, no vaccine.
No vaccine.
Yeah,
I got the one in Johnson and Johnson. You're like triple vaxxed.
Yeah, I've got like the 1, the 2, the 3. You know what? So, last year, yeah, and I got vaccinated. More so because my kid has respiratory issues.
yeah,
And so for that reason, we were very careful that we didn't want her to get sick. Um, and then so a lot of stuff happened over the summer break last year, and so we missed taking them. And it was 2 years ago. We missed taking them out on a little family vacation, and so we decided to book a little cruise to take the family, and that was during the time where you couldn't go on a cruise unless you were vaccinated. Approved.
Oh, okay.
So so I already had two, but it had been so long that I had to get my third back. So I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, I'm one of those people. I just, it is what it is. I'll get it just so I can go on a cruise. That's a little more important.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hospitalized in August of 2021 with COVID pneumonia too, so I almost died from the shit before.
Before you went to prison.
Yeah. But I recovered pretty well from that. I felt, but then when I got sick again, it just square one again, man.
You smoke a lot?
No, I don't smoke at all. I don't drink that much. I don't do any drugs or anything. I'm very healthy. I eat all organic, so
Oh shit,
yeah.
You're eating better than me.
Yeah.
I eat donuts.
Yeah. Because we believe that it's got dairy and eggs and flour.
Yeah, it's like all the healthy shit.
Yeah. Follow the pyramid, the food pyramid, and the donut carrot.
It's all the donuts and cake, baby, and pizza. Yeah,
pizza. Yeah.
Throw some bell peppers on it. That's a veggie.
Jalapenos. Yeah, we're good.
What do you think Trump's chances are 2024?
If everything's legit and we don't have any fuckery going on, I think his chances are 1,000% astronomical through the roof. But as you see, there's a lot of things going on right now a lot of fuckery going on that will we get to that point? Will it be a fair election? That's what's to be seen yet.
Who do you think Trump's going to pick for his vice president?
I'm really hoping Vivek Ramaswamy, man. I'm a big fan. Love him.
I like Vivek a lot.
But I also like Tulsi Gabbard.
I like Tulsi Gabbard a lot too.
Apparently she's an option, so I mean I would be happy with that too.
She was before, like back in when it was they were still trying to figure out what Democrat they're going to put up against Trump, and eventually it chose Biden. Tulsi Gabbard hadn't dropped out; she was still there. Yeah. They just kind of pushed her out and just went with Biden. I don't know. I think Tulsi versus Trump would have been a really good 2020 fight.
Yeah. I like Tulsi because she's like the old school liberal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, old school liberal is completely different than what it used to be. Or Democrat. She's old school. You know what I'm saying? Which is conservative. Old school Democrat is new school conservative, in my opinion. So that's why I like Tulsi, man.
I like. I think if I had to bet, I think he's going to pick Ben Carson.
Oh yeah.
But if my heart of hearts, if I had my dream ticket, it would be RFK.
Okay, yeah, that'd be nice too.
Tulsi's old school. Biden's old.
Biden's just old.
Biden's just old, dude.
I really like Vivek though, man. He has the best debates there is. Like watching him debate is like watching a roast session. You know what I'm saying? He
kind of reminds me of Ben Shapiro, like a little Indian Ben Shapiro.
Oh yeah.
But he's speaks a lot smoother than Ben Shapiro. Because Ben Shapiro's all high pitched and fast, and Vivek's a lot smoother. Yes, I think Vivek is an awesome name. Ramaswamy is too long a name for an American to vote for. I think if he came back and rebranded himself as Vivek Ramsey, because Trump isn't Trump's real name. He branded himself Trump because he knows how to market. I think if Vivek branded himself Vivek Ramses, that would be a fucking ticket. That would be an unstoppable force of nature right there.
Yeah. So you go ask family to adopt him so you can be like Vivek Jones?
No, just fucking have a stage name. Trump's not Trump's real name. It's like Drumps or something shit, but he changed it to Trump.
Shoot, you got me, dude. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Trump branded himself Trump because Trump is a fucking badass name.
Oh, yeah.
Ramses is a badass name. Ramaswamy is too long. I think Vivek Ramses, that's your fucking ticker. What's in the future for Playboy the Beast?
Same thing as usual, man. Just going to keep pushing out the music. I upgraded my studio. I upgraded all my video equipment, so just constantly leveling up, man, and, trying to do everything I can to keep making noise with the music.
Nice. So you do everything from home?
Yeah, I got the home studio, everything right here, man. We do all the videos ourselves, all that shit, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, we've been, I'm going to say what I said at the beginning. We've been looking forward to having you. It's good to get somebody's, share their stories. I'm not going to say their opinion because you were there.
Yeah.
So just share your story and enlighten folks like myself, because him and I go back and forth on our beliefs, our thoughts, right? Um, and from somebody who was there, we appreciate your candid, feedback, right, or story, sharing it with us. So
I think a lot of this, at least for me, is freedom of speech is a muscle. If you don't fucking use your freedom of speech, you lose your freedom of speech.
yeah,
So, I mean, shit like this, we're just talking. We're not leaning one way or the other. We're just trying to like have an open dialogue, and we need more of that in this country.
we really do.
Too many people are just shouting at each other, and we need to be able to like peacefully and calmly have conversations.
Well, everybody's entitled to what they want to believe. Everybody's entitled to share it and voice it. That doesn't mean everybody has to go along with it.
No.
And I think that's the problem that nowadays we're going to, 100, 200, 300 years ago where it's like you have to follow this religion. You have to be Catholic, otherwise we're going to punish you. And it shouldn't be that.
Well, that's how this country was started. The Protestants came over because they didn't want to be forced to join the Church of England.
But and everybody right now should be entitled to, like you said, their opinion, their thoughts, share them, voice them. Hey, look, if you don't like it, guess what? You don't have to listen to it. Change the channel, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you don't like what somebody has to do or say, you talked about. I think there was somebody in drag. That bothers you. Look away. Go somewhere else. I'm a true believer. Do whatever the hell you want to do. Don't try to impose it on me. I'll believe what I want to believe. I'll respect you for it. I'll respect anybody for what they want to do, as long as they don't come in and try to impose it on anybody else. So yeah, thanks for what you do and what you just said, because it's true. Um, if somebody wants to listen to what you have to say, great, right? At the beginning of this podcast, and not at the beginning of our very first podcast when we first started it almost a year ago.
Yeah.
We used to say some shit that, my wife even said, she goes, well, you want people to listen to you. I'm like, well, she goes, you don't have to say these things. I'm like, well, if they don't want to hear me say it, then don't listen to it. She's like, but you want an audience. I'm like, well, yeah, I want an audience who will listen to it.
They like to listen to stupid ass old man talking shit.
Exactly. Having a cigar, having a drink, saying stupid shit, and you don't like it, go elsewhere, because you just said it. This is what, and Playboy, you said to yourself, right? This is what this country is also built upon. And you're going to believe what you want to, continue doing what you're doing. Hey, and if anybody doesn't like it, change the channel. Yeah.
Welcome.
What month you come off paper? What's the first thing you're going to do?
We're probably gonna have a little party, man. I'm probably gonna drink some twisted teas. I haven't drank in a long time, so it'd be nice to relax, have a few drinks, just relax with the family, have a few friends over, and just celebrate freedom, man.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
You're a father, right?
Yes, 4 kids.
4 kids.
4 of them.
Boys, girls?
2 boys, 2 girls.
Nice, you got the perfect set, man.
Yeah.
We kept trying for the boy, and it never happened.
I got him, he got me, and we got all girls.
Damn.
Hey, what's the worst part about Father's Day?
Worst part about Father's Day?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The worst part about Father's Day is that it's in the middle of the summer.
We don't get gifts.
Mother's Day, the kids are in school. They get the little fucking handprint. They get making them do all this shit.
Yeah.
And then Father's Day, we're in the summer, and they're like, "You're gonna go barbecue? You're gonna go barbecue for Father's Day?" And yes, I am, motherfucker. But that's not the point.
Right.
Yeah.
I want Father's Day to be in the middle of school. So next month on this podcast, next month is Fathers Come First Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're really pushing for Father's Day to be in March.
The first Sunday in March, we're celebrating Fathers Come First Day, where we're starting a petition to get Father's Day moved to March so that fucking the teachers can be there to fucking make the little handprints in the clay and all that shit and send that shit home. Because damn it, I want that.
I don't care that my kid's 13. I'm sending her back to kinder so she can make them for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Fathers Come First. There's a premature ejaculation joke in there somewhere. I just can't find it.
Fathers come first.
Fathers come first. All right. Do you want to spit a little something to close us out? Do you freestyle at all?
I do all the time, but not on camera, or you know what I'm saying, not live usually. No, I don't really have any.
No,
Yeah.
you don't want to perform American Extremist or anything as to close this out.
I record the new song like every day, so I don't even memorize half of my lyrics
Oh
until
shit!
yeah, unless I'm doing a video because I'm in the studio literally 2 or 3 songs a day. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't really internalize much of that. I think my storage is full.
You mentioned you just dropped a song last Friday. I think you said
Yeah,
this past
yeah.
Friday. Um, I mean, can we drop a link to it? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna put your website in the link that's got all your shit, and if you want to put a link to your brand new song, is it on Spotify yet or
yeah. Spotify, iTunes, all that shit, man. And I'll
iTunes? All that.
be dropping new music every week. You know, so
So yeah, I'll definitely link your website because your website's got all the shit, all the different links to all your different socials and shit. And I'll put a link to your new song. Which one was it? What was the new one that you just
uh,
dropped?
it's called "Riding with Trump." Never Nikki.
Never Nikki.
Never Nikki. And that bitch.
You're not a fan of Nikki Haley?
No,
so
no.
don't pick a Nikki. That's what it is.
Don't pick a Nikki.
Don't pick a Nikki. Yeah.
Fucking what was Nikki Haley saying, that she wanted to censor the internet, or she wanted everybody to show ID before they could
Yeah,
get on
yeah.
the
Everybody's got to verify their identity.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Is there anything you want to say? Closing thoughts, man?
I don't know. I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come on here and tell some of my story and shit, man. I appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun. I was excited about this.
I was too, man. I didn't know. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I didn't know where this was gonna go, and I appreciate you just sharing your story because I think you enlightened me a little bit on some of the stuff you have to say. I don't want to say it was a great story because, of course, it was kind of a negative experience for you, but I think it was also a positive experience for you. I think it's a little bit of both. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Playboy, thank you again. Man, like I said, we've been looking forward to having you for the last, I think, month and a half since he scheduled it. So, man, I appreciate it. And stay doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a great job. Just keep it up. And if anybody doesn't believe in what you have to say, I'm going to say it right here. Fuck it. You and I may not share the same thoughts sometimes, but you know what? At the end of the day, you seem like a great guy. So thank you for being on the podcast, man.
And everybody deserves the right to say what
Absolutely.
they got to say.
Absolutely.
I agree. I'm a full
All right,
advocate
sir.
of speech.
Well, sir, thank you so much. I think with that, we will say stay cool, stay safe. Best to the family and the kids.
All righty.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, that's a big one.
No,
Especially, federal jails. So,
Yeah, stay out of federal jails, please.
that.
Yeah. All right, man. It was great meeting you.
God
Talk
bless.
to you soon.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right.
You go, Chris.
All right. Do I need to end this? Or?